Sucks 'cause it's never going to be the same team, and we know that as players, and that's the frustrating part again about yesterday.
How'd you make it through?
Man,
Yeah, it feels like you made it through pretty good, you know?
Perspective-wise, like, comparatively healthier than I've ever been, so that's a blessing.
You know, you've had a night-ish to sleep on it. How are you able to start processing what happened yesterday?
I think it starts now, and just try to channel it and use it, whether it's anger, sadness, whatever it is. Try to use that as motivation into the off season.
What was Dan's message in the final team meeting there?
Kind of along those lines is just never forgetting that feeling of watching them celebrate across the field and listening to them in the locker room. Just never forgetting that.
Do you have a lot of hope, Frank, with how many core pieces that you've got here, how many young guys that really became stars this season for your football team? I mean, the future does look bright, right?
100%. There's so many talented dudes in this room. Not only talented, but the right mindset. Just the right wired guys that are willing to do whatever it takes for their teammates and put it on the line. And again, I'm just so grateful to be a part of this locker room because there's a lot of special dudes.
Hey Frank, I know that Jared's a guy that internalizes a lot of stuff and puts it on his shoulders. How do you, as his teammate, try to lift him up after a game where he had some real struggles?
Well, I think that's what makes a lot of these guys great is I think we all kind of look within, and that's just part of it. I mean, if you get to this level, you're always going to be looking at yourself before you're pointing fingers, and that's what makes us as good as who we are. And I think that's what makes him great, is he's gonna feel it, it's gonna burn, but he knows. We all know that everybody in this team had a hand in last night, and it was we as a team just didn't play well enough to win.
What's the hardest part about this? I mean, it's abrupt, it's final. This has been your family all season.
Yeah, I think like abrupt, like I really. It was feeling special, and it's frustrating because then now it's over. Lockers are cleaned out, and we're on to next year, and that's just the reality of this league.
We've seen Dan fall on the sword a lot of times to just take responsibility for everybody and the team's impact, but we've also seen Dan be emotional on the podium. What does that mean for you guys to have a coach who wears his heart on his sleeve like that so publicly and loves the game so fiercely?
Yeah, there's no doubt in our minds that Coach Campbell cares about every single one of us and doesn't take it lightly, his position. Just so appreciative of the leader he is emotionally, not only football, but just a leader of men, and always willing to take the fall when in reality it is on all of us. And I'm just so grateful to have him as a head coach.
Frank, I'm sure it's hard to compare the way.
Yeah, right there. That's Frank Ragnow right here. We got Terrell Williams going over to New England, and we possibly have AG going to the Jets. Mark Brunell is expected to be our offensive coordinator. Ben Johnson going to the Chicago Bears. We got NFC Championship, AFC Championship, and we got that and more on this episode of the Lion Film Report.
Yo, the lies so that you never make it. Hopeless, so it seems. Eyes closed, Kansas open wide to embrace your dreams. Sometimes you gotta take a loss just to get the win. Like lots of sin was popping in like oxygen when boxes wet. Focus on the mental, never lose like a smooth instrumental. Better choose on the move in a pinto. Choose what I get to, never lose smooth on the move, but it's simple. Never give up and we running it, maybe. We just keep winning, we conquering daily. Envision that pay me, it's never the sway me. Indigenous, maybe we winning this crazy. Your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity. It's your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, your
Welcome one, welcome all. Ladies and gentlemen, to the Lion Villain Report. I am your host. It's your boy, Russell Wayne, up in the house. And we're here to talk some football for the next hour or so. And we got lots and lots to get to today. Some unbelievable stuff happened today. But before we get there, let's pay the bill. We're broadcasting live into the Lion Villain Squad Facebook page, where right now we have over 60,000. It's been lots of fun this year. The Lions, the girls get so excited when the Lions be winning and everything. But I got left by myself with my bottle of Kavakier, and you're gonna have to reload for next season, but I'm gonna be with you, Leon Phelps, right here, all the way to 70,000. Thank you for following the page. The Villain Squad YouTube page. Thank you to those that go out there and subscribe to that page right there, because we are the UDFA of sports podcasting. Main Event Football Show and the Lion Villain Report. And the Lion Villain Report, it's a good show. You should watch it in the mornings during the season at 10 a.m. Monday through Saturday. It could be good for you. It could be good for you. It could be good for your life. Oh, hell yeah. Give me a hell yeah in the comments if you're still supporting these Detroit Lions. But don't give me a hell yeah in the comments if you're jumping off the bandwagon because they lose. You know, right there. You know, if you're a fan, even when they don't win, give me a hell yeah going into this off season. Right there, Detroit Lions News Podcast. Joe Chap, thank you for putting your best foot forward right there. 80,000 strong in the Detroit Lions News Podcast. He's got a network of over 150,000 people on his own with that. And we are all here together. Huddle Sports Network. Bill the Packer fan, Mike the Bear fan, thank you for letting me be part of your Roku network, man. 30 podcasts on there, including some of the people that we have in the comments right there. We're smoking Jeremy B in the house. Let's say hello to everybody in the house. Henry Gray in the house. Davey in the house. What's up, guys? Jeremy B in the house. Jeremy B knows what time it is. Right there. There's all that news. Right there. John, Paul Jones, what's going on? Lenny up in the house. Davey. All right, we got a good conversation going here. Right here. This episode is brought to you by NFL Shop. Get that Lion swag. You scan that QR code, you can save up to 25% off of your order of that Lions gear. I know everybody don't want to buy gear right now. I get that. Not feeling too good about what's going on right now. But yeah, it's war. It's war out there. I had a couple things made up for today that I was going to talk to, and then they break more news. And, you know, that's not what I wanted to hit first. I want to know about the panic level. As a Lion fan, here we are. We're so good that other teams are raiding our cookie jar. And honestly, I know it's a sad day in the midst of going through that. But I want to know what your panic level is. Ben Johnson leaving for a division rival. Gonna go head coach the Chicago Bears. Where does that set your panic level? Where are you at? Are you freaking out now? Oh my God, we're not gonna be able to do anything. Where's your panic level? 1 to 11. Ben Johnson leaving. He's going to go. He's coaching. Because it's an interesting question. Because Lions, as far as history, we like if you want to pretend like we've been there before, but we haven't been here before because nobody ever wants to stay in Detroit. And we lost a whole bunch of people. And we're going to lose a whole bunch of people. We're going to lose Aaron Glenn. I'm losing Terrell Williams. But what's your panic level? You know, and I only had the one thing made just for Ben Johnson. But what's your panic level losing all of them? And my panic level is 0. I have no panic level on this. This thing has been built from the ground up. The panic level is the same it was when Anthony Lynn left. Because I didn't know. I mean, it's an unknown thing. What came first, the chicken or the egg? Like, I remember the timeline of everything, and I love what Ben Johnson's done here, and I think he's going to be I think he could do well in Chicago. If anybody could turn that around in Chicago. And Chicago's got talent. And I'm sure that Ben Johnson's got a really, really good plan for all of this. But right now, there's a media circus, and it's the week of the championship week. And it's really funny that, to me, that they're doing all this on these couple of weeks because, you know, media circus-wise, here it is. It's front and center. All of this stuff. Oh, my God. The Lions are going to lose Ben Johnson. Oh, my gosh. The Lions are going to lose Aaron Glenn. Oh, my gosh. The Lions are going to lose Terrell Williams. Oh, my gosh. They're going to lose Hank Fraley. Oh, my gosh. But you know who we're not going to lose? We're not going to lose Frank Ragnow. We're not going to lose Penei Sewell. We're not losing Taylor Decker. Not losing Glasgow or Mahogany on the offensive line. We're not going to lose Amon-Ra St. Brown. We're not going to lose Jamison Williams. We're not going to lose Jahmyr Gibbs or Sam Laporta. And I know all everybody's mad at him right now because he had one bad game, so obviously that's who he is. But Jared Goff is still here too. And, I mean, if you want to overreact, I'm going to overreact to the fact that was a real chance to win a Super Bowl and they blew it. And that's the end of it for that. But as far as going forward, do you know what's going to happen? You know, Aiden Hutchinson's going to come back. Aleem McNeil's going to come back. Our best defensive players. We're going to, you know, we didn't even get to see the potential of what that could be. But now a new defensive coordinator is going to come in. And it used to be like, God, who would ever want to work for the Lions? So what's my panic level? Nothing. And it's not, and it has nothing to do with how good or how bad I think Ben Johnson is or AG. Has nothing to do with that. When Ben Johnson came in, I remember. But I mean, Dan Campbell called plays. He called the plays. He didn't give over play calling easily. The offense is going to be fine with these guys. I mean, take Antoine Randall out. Now, I don't know how this other stuff works with it. Let me see what you guys are saying in the chats here. Good morning, Dale. Good morning, Mark G. We got a 4 or 5 panicking, panic level 3. Yeah, put that in there. If you haven't put that vote in there, I mean, just type it in there. Between panic level, between 1 and 11, losing Ben Johnson. And I mean, I'm not going to do this for every single coordinator, but so let's just throw them all in there. Jeremy has a comment in here. Jeremy B., thank you for putting information in here, because I'm going to throw. There you go. So we'll put all of this stuff in there as the stuff to add in with the panic level. I mean, even if we lose all of these guys, my panic level is 1, because they're developing coaches. There's a reason why all these guys are leaving. They're going to have success. They're having success here. Because what's been built here is that the next man up. Including the coaching. The foundation's in there. The players already know what's going on. The philosophy is already there. So when the new defensive coach comes in, they just got to mesh that with what Dan Campbell's doing. And there's no better person to do that than Kelvin Shepherd. And I know that you threw that one in there too, Jeremy. Kelvin Shepherd. I would love to tell you that I'm surprised about that. You see my surprise face? Kelvin Shepherd, next man up. He's going to go be a defensive coordinator somewhere. In my mind, there's zero surprise with it. I mean, there was the only thing I was thinking in my mind, which would the big question was going to be, which one of these guys are going to be retained, because Terrell Williams could have been our defensive coordinator. I would have been good with that. But if we would have put him as the defensive coordinator, we'd have probably lost Kelvin Shepherd. And as far as Antoine Randall being the offensive coordinator, that's cool. That one's a little surprising, because I actually thought that Scotty Montgomery would be a good candidate for that. And we may lose Scotty Montgomery. But let's look at some of the other, the way that these things work now, especially when AG ends up moving on. Like a sidebar, like the Rooney Rule right here. They are now incentivizing, promoting African-American coaches, minority coaches. I don't think it's just African-American coaches. I think it's just minority coaches, period. The Lions, if AG takes head coach job, is going to get 2 third-round picks in the draft. 1 this year and 1 the following year. So that's awesome. That's awesome. And the thing is work that system if it's there. There's a boatload of really smart, talented minority coaches out there. Why not work that system? Now, I'm not sure what the Lions would get, because I know that this rule extends into, I think they'll get something for Terrell Williams if he leaves. I don't know what the compensation is for that. I'm sure it's not third-round picks for Terrell Williams. And I'm not sure. I think that they'll actually get something for promoting even Antoine Randall from within. So the Lions window is wide open. It's more wide open than any other team in the NFC North, that's for sure, right now. Because as much as I think that this is a good move for the Bears, but it's a 7-win team, 5 wins. You know, you're trying to, if you improve by 5 games with Ben Johnson, you're still going to be in 3rd place, 4th place. Jimmy, don't come in. You didn't tell us shit, Jimmy. You went into witness protection. I love all this tough talk after the fact. We swept you guys. I told you all you were trash. Green Bay. Told you Jordan Love was garbage. I told you, Jimmy. First round out. What are you going to do about your team? Your window's done. You're done. The Lions won't take any step back. The Lions are going to hire a new defensive coordinator. Yeah, who does? Are there? Kelvin Shepard's ready for this. I'm enjoying my sweep, Jimmy. Green Bay Packers can't beat the Lions. Us losing our coordinators aren't going to stop us from sweeping you again, over and over again. We just beat the Packers. It's funny. You can go ahead. You know, you can do a touchdown dance. Do a touchdown dance, Jimmy. Do a touchdown dance, Packer fans. Do a touchdown dance, Bear fans. It's great. Somebody did something that you couldn't do. You had to watch somebody else beat our team. Bears, you couldn't beat our team. Steve, the Packers, you can't beat our team. We're going to get a new coordinator, and Jahmyr Gibbs is still going to run all over you. We're still going to have the best offense in the NFL. You do realize the players on the field and the offensive line make that happen. All of those things are still there. Sucks to lose Ben Johnson. It does, but that's what happens to good teams. You lose coordinators. Hey, Viking fans, you might lose Brian Flores. I get the hate. I get the hate, Jimmy. Go ahead, do a touchdown dance. The Washington Commanders did something that you couldn't do. Congratulations, man. I can say all the same things that you would say about my quarterback. I ain't in here trashing your team, but I'll trash your team if you want to come in here and throw metaphorical hands. Everything that you would say about Jared Goff, I can say about Jordan Love with his overpaid ass. Average. You ain't ever going to win a Super Bowl with him. Oh, Sam Darnold. But I'm not going to go there because I think Jordan Love is a good quarterback, and I think players get better. So I'm not going to put myself into the meaningless. And I'm talking to you, Jimmy. I don't care about. I do trust Goff, but I want to know if you trust. Why would you trust Love? No, Jordan Love's ass. Jimmy Hump is in here talking about our quarterback that can't stop winning against Green Bay. All he does is beat Green Bay over and over and over. Own Green Bay all day. Jared Goff. just smashing Green Bay. Sweep. Beat their ass. They own Lambeau Field. And you're going to tell me my quarterback's ass? Wow. Wow. Okay. You can live in delusion land right there. But I'm just going to enjoy truck sticking your team, beating your team every time we play them. Looking over at that stupid look on Matt LaFleur's face when he can't figure out Dan Campbell. And Dan Campbell over there with his wheelbarrow and his manhood in the wheelbarrow, staring over across the field going, look, man.
You've had enough of that shit.
And we just keep winning and winning, beating all these NFC North teams. But if you guys want a touchdown dance with somebody else's win, that's fine. So, your team choked. Your team choked. Your team was watching my team. My team earned a week off. And your team choked. And then my team choked. Our team choked. And that's why I think it's really funny that you would try and touchdown dance off of what the Commanders did. My coach goes from 3-13-1 to 9-8 to 12-5 to 15-2. And everybody that we've lost has been next man up. And you're telling me that we're going to lose this defensive coordinator. And the Lions are going to have a real hard time trying to find somebody that wants to coach Aiden Hutchinson, Aleem McNeil, Kirby Joseph, Brian Branch, Jack Campbell, and Alex Anzalone. Yeah, who's going to want to come and do that? Who's going to want to come and help that out? Kelvin Shepard knows what we're doing here. The Lions have a coaching staff of studs, man. I'm glad that our coaching staff is deep. But is this true? Haters are convinced Ben Johnson is the sole responsibility for our success? Really? Ben Johnson didn't even start calling plays. But I mean, they won 8 of 10 games with Dan Campbell calling plays. So you think because Ben Johnson is gone, and I'm just trying to, oh, you guys would be priceless if this is what you really think. You think because Ben Johnson is gone, all of a sudden Jahmyr Gibbs ain't gonna run. He ain't going to have that talent. You think the offensive line's going to all of a sudden stop blocking? This offense has been together for 4 years. Like the same core player. They've been through a couple of offensive coordinators. God, man, do you guys beat dead horses? I mean, what do you want? What do you want me to say, broski? It's true. Goff choked. Your whole team choked. The Packers choked. The Vikings choked. As a matter of fact, 31 teams are going to be considered choked. You're right. We choked. We choked. We're talking about next season now, man. Move on. Move on. I mean, we're all in the next. Let's give the rival fans a chance here. Right now, I mean, we lost. Okay, do you want to type it in there again? Goff threw 3 interceptions. Does anybody want to type it in there again? Because I'm trying to be mature and move on here. I gave 2 complete shows and ate shit for 2 games. Am I not accountable yet? Because I'm trying to move on here. I'm trying to move on. I dedicated my entire Monday show and most of yesterday's show to eating the crow. They lost. Chicago came in, whipped our ass. Do you want to type it in there again? Anybody? Oh, okay, yeah, okay. Goff also lost the fumble. Okay, yes. They turned the ball over 5 times. Yes, they lost the game. Anything else, broski? Anything else, Jimmy? Because we're talking about our panic line. I'm not panicked at all. Why would I be panicked at all? The entire roster's coming back. All of the promotions are from within. You know what that tells me? Is that they're not trying to shake the tree. Come on, man. There are no surprises on this. Did I have a glimmer of hope that we could keep one of these 2 coordinators? Sure. That doesn't mean that Calvin Shepard's not ready to be a defensive coordinator. He's been ready to be a defensive coordinator. I don't know of any other team. I don't remember any other time in Lions history where I was interested in listening to position coaches talk. And that's just something I noticed during the season, is that all of these guys have leadership just oozing out of them. Calvin Shepard, Scotty Montgomery, Antoine Randall, Hank Fraley, all these guys, every one of their position coaches, I'm just like, damn, these guys talk like head coaches. They don't talk like position coaches. These guys talk about they talk about leadership, and you can just see it up there. They talk about like how they can lead an entire room, and it's like, wow, you're just coaching. I don't know why that came up. Interesting. I'm like, wow, all of these guys ready to step in. So I think that the biggest changes for the Lions going into this next season are going to be lower down the totem pole, right? I mean, think about it. You got Terrell Williams out, AG out, you're sliding. Your linebackers coach, promoting him to defensive coordinator, and Calvin Shepard. Now, really, where's the void? Well, the void comes in, well, you got to find a new linebackers coach. You obviously got to find a new defensive tackles coach, because you lost both those guys. You replaced from within, so you replaced because you moved the one piece, so you need to find 2 pieces, but they're not your defensive coordinator pieces. I think Calvin Shepard's going to be an awesome defensive coordinator. And then in 2 years, I think we're going to lose him to a head coaching job. It's crazy. As a Lion fan, holy crap. I can't even remember a coach before this coaching staff that left the Lions for a promotion and didn't leave the Lions to retire because their career came here to die. So it's very different time. So that's why I think the trash talk is funny to me, because you're trying to get me to be pessimistic in a time where, God, I went through 30 years of just trying to get a winning season together. You know, it's disappointing to lose. I'm telling you, it's like the losses that are in the playoffs seem to sting more than losing seasons do. Call me crazy. Is that true? Even I think that even our rival fans can relate to that. It's like you get into the playoffs and it's just like that loss stings more than losing 13 games in a season. Or just maybe you take the beat down during the whole season and then you're just numb to it by the end of the season after a losing season. But you build yourself up and then 31 teams get to walk home shrugging their shoulders, wondering what's going to happen next year. But as far as the confirmed guys go, Aaron Glenn isn't confirmed gone yet. I don't think is that confirmed yet, Jeremy? I know there's just a lot of speculation. I'm sure Aaron Glenn's going to take a head coaching job. So a lot of this stuff is just formality. Jimmy, we did not become the cockiest fan base. Stop making narratives up that aren't true. Our team got happy when we won 15 games. It's not cocky being happy that you win. What's cocky is coming in after you lost, talking trash when your team couldn't beat my team. That's cocky. You think it's cocky for me to come on here and humble myself and eat an hour and a half worth of crow? And then y'all came in here again? You're calling me cocky. But you came in. I ate the crow like I said I was a man of my word. I came in here, ate my crow. I ate my humble pie, man. That's humbling. And then you didn't have enough. You came in on Tuesday. They came in on Tuesday. I should say they. I don't even know if you were in here on Tuesday, but I'm sure that you were. And I was trying to go through the Dan Campbell interview for the end. And you wanted to make me eat crow all yesterday, too. So I ate all the crow yesterday. And now you're coming in a third day in a row. And we're talking about coordinators and moving into the future. Now, I get you guys earned your Monday with me of me eating that crow. I gave you Tuesday. But you're not getting Wednesday, too, because I'm moving on with my team. I'm moving on to next year. I can't believe you're so cocky that you want to be able to keep going with that, and you're not worried about your own team that couldn't beat my team. That's not cocky, stating facts. And if you want to minimize them, call them participation trophies or whatever. We're the NFC North champions. Now, that may be big fish in a little pond, but it is. It's the truth. And some other team is going to win the Super Bowl. And before you get too cocky, realize the team that really needs to be humbled. Y'all act like we're not going to win a Super Bowl. Nobody's going to win a Super Bowl as long as Patrick Mahomes is here. If your name's not Patrick Mahomes or Tom Brady, then sit down. Your franchise ain't done squat. Yeah, Matt Stafford snuck in for one. You got a couple guys. Peyton Manning snuck in. Russell Wilson snuck in. Nick Foles snuck in. You got two teams that have been dominating NFL. And you come in here and tell me about my teams can't win. And it's like none of these teams, it's like this is the ultimate goal, right? You want to win a Super Bowl. And you can go ahead and talk all the trash you want to me and my team, but you can't beat my team. And nobody's beating this team. This dude about ready to go in and three-peat, and you're telling me my fan base is cocky? Wow. And then he keeps going. Wow. Okay. Jimmy's still going here. Jimmy can't move on. This is so typical of Packer fans. I'm going to make fun of Jimmy. You guys can help me make fun of Jimmy. This is typical Packer fan. I am sitting here trying to move on. The Lions have 4 championships, Jimmy. Before you tell me about your 13. So what? We're trying to move on here. You dropped the ball. You dropped the ball. Your team. Steve, your team dropped the ball. The Packers dropped the ball. They couldn't beat the Lions. It's all good, though. It's all good because I'm going to move on. The Lions get 2 third-round picks when Aaron Glenn leaves. Now, Jeremy, help me out right here. With this, I'm fairly sure that they would get help when Terrell Williams takes that job, right? They would get compensatory picks for that under that new Rooney Rule too, right? I think the OCs would be probably 4th-round picks, if I think. All the teams in the NFC North are young. But the Lions have all pros on their team. The Lions' young players are better than your young players. The Lions are in the top 10 and youngest teams in the NFL. But what do? Comp picks. No comp picks for assistants? What if the assistant goes to OC? So it's only for head coaching jobs. Yeah, Steve says, who would I want to see as my new OC in DC? I believe I'm going to get who I want as my defensive coordinator. I think Calvin Shepard is going to be the new defensive coordinator. And I think that he's going to continue the development where it was. So I think the defense is going to be much improved underneath Calvin Shepard. And I don't think that has anything to do with how good or how bad Aaron Glenn is. So Calvin Shepard, I think, is a slam dunk as the new defensive coordinator. I don't think you get anything that would be better than that, despite what people say about Robert Salah. Which that wouldn't suck either. I wouldn't care. But The philosophies are going to remain the same. The roster isn't going to turn over all that much when it comes to what the Lions are doing. So it's really, honestly, it's like, how are we going to fit, all of the draft picks onto our roster? That's kind of the crazy thing right now. Because, like, the Lions have never been in this position before. And I'm not saying that I would know that this is like a great or not a great thing. But when you look at the Lions roster right here, and this is overthecap.com. I mean, you have most of the roster spots. This is the 2025 roster right here. And most of these guys, Jared Goff staying, Decker, Ragnow, DJ Reader, Hutchinson, Carlton Davis, you have to figure something out if you want to keep him. Penei Sewell, David Montgomery, Glasgow, Anzalone, all these guys started. Aleem McNeil, Zadarius Smith, Jameson Williams, Jahmyr Gibbs, all these guys are on rookie deals or signed to multi-year deals. So there's only 53 people on the roster. And, you're going to bring back probably Carlton Davis, Zeitler type of deal. It's a weird thing to say, but I think that it looks as if it's going to be hard to make this roster for the Lions as a draft pick. Like, you got to be really choosy with who you want to grab and who you want to add to this team. So, from a talent perspective, the Lions should be jumping for joy. It's crazy to think. Lions went 15-2, and they didn't even have Aiden Hutchinson, and they didn't have Aleem McNeil for most of the year. Alex Anzalone was out for most of the year. You haven't even seen what it looks like to have a Zadarius Smith and Hutchinson running bookends with, Reader, McNeil. Like, I'm very, very excited about the defense. And, that you prove that you don't know anything about what the Lions are doing. If you don't think that we should have some type of hope in here. Like, Aiden Hutchinson, do you think that the Lions would have won that game against the Commanders if Aiden Hutchinson and Aleem McNeil were out there? Aiden Hutchinson was on pace to break the sack record when he got injured. And I use the Aiden Hutchinson injury because here's a guy that is definitely not injury prone, right? I know a lot of people like to use the injury prone thing. Oh, Lions just grab all the injured players. I don't grab all injured players. Alex Anzalone isn't injury prone. Some players that got injured, injuries happen for one thing, but how do I not get excited about this defense? One of my safeties went to the Pro Bowl. The other one went to the All-Pro. Was a first-team All-Pro. Aiden Hutchinson is a beast. Like, still got Darius Smith in there, and he may end up being relegated to more of a rotational guy because I think the Lions will draft somebody there to add to that room. The offense, there's no where are you going to go? Obviously we could draft an offensive lineman because we want to get younger in that spot, and we are getting younger. We've already been developing a couple offensive linemen. The Lions have done a great job at drafting and developing. Why wouldn't the future be great? Oh, but you're aging on the offensive line. Yeah, but we drafted, we have two offensive linemen that we drafted that were perfectly good in rotational that could step in and be starter quality by next year. They've been drafting and developing these guys. Christian Mahogany came in, may make it so they don't bring back Kevin Zeitler because he's sliding right in there. And there you just got younger. So don't tell me that your team is developing and that you're the only one with young players are promising. The Lions have the best running back in the NFL. Jahmyr Gibbs going into next year. Book it. And it isn't me being cocky. I'm not going to be the one just saying it. So when I look at my panic level, and make sure that you get it in there, Lion fan, what is your panic level of Ben Johnson leaving? And we're adding Terrell Williams. Their defensive tackles coach is probably going to be the OC in New England. Like, I'm not 100% on which one of these ink deals are dry. You know, if they've freshly inked all of this stuff. But don't panic. I don't think that there's any reason to panic because what has the Lions' track record been? And don't go before 2021. The track record before 2021 was awful. The Matt Patricia, you know, you had a couple of average coaches, and that was the peak of your last 30 years with Jim Caldwell and a couple of them Barry Sanders teams. You had the greatest running back of all time, but you couldn't put it together around him. But this regime with Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell, they have proven to you time and time and time again that they draft, develop, next man up works here because they're building the culture. The core of your team doesn't have to learn stuff. Yeah, you know, when we get into this offseason here soon, a lot of other teams are going to get some players. They'll get some guys. Oh, yeah, look, we're going to turn it all around and we're going to do things. We feel good about our team now. Now we got Ben Johnson here. Now they're going to flip it. But you know what? He's still got to go in there. He's got to lay down his philosophies, his terminology, and all of those players are starting over from day one. And this can't be understated. The fact that you got offensive linemen on the Lions, the whole offense, the whole starting offense has been together for 4 years through 3 different offensive coordinators. Because Dan Campbell was calling his own plays before Ben Johnson took over. So that is the most dangerous thing in football today. It's not your next best player. Oh, we got this guy. No. I'm going to show you how to give props to your enemy. Enemies in here talking trash, acting like y'all better, calling me cocky. Give props because progression is the most dangerous thing. That's the scariest thing in football. Jordan Love getting another year in the system. Progression. Anytime you got something that starts over, that's something that's, you know, that's a missing. Now, it doesn't mean that thing can't get going. You know, look at Xavier McKinney. He goes over to the Packers, goes in year 1, boom, gets it. Boom. It can happen. But there's nothing more dangerous than a second-year player going into his third year that's starting to get it. Because here, you're used to getting 75 from this guy, but he gives you 110 in the third year. Progression. That's scary. And the Lions bursted out with a couple of those this year with, whoa, here's a progression. Josh Pascal, he progressed. Now you got a player. Now you got a dog there. And he only has to be a backup guy, right? Jamison Williams. I had to battle bust people on my shows last year. He's a bust. He broke out. Progression. Jahmyr Gibbs. Oh, David Montgomery went out. You guys are done. Jahmyr Gibbs comes in, breaks out. Progression. So you're going to get these second-year players going into their third year. A full complement. I mean, that should be the scariest thing. The easiest gig in the world would come in here now and be the offensive coordinator. I remember back in the day, you know, with some of them New Orleans teams that had Alvin Kamara. And that's what this reminds me of. Jared Goff reminds me of Drew Brees. The skill positions that we have remind me of that New Orleans team with Alvin Kamara, Mark Ingram, David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs. You know, they had some really good possession receivers. They had Colston. They had a good complement all the way through. And on defense, they were just opportunistic. But when they had that offense, I was like, that must be the easiest offensive coordinator gig ever. You got this offense that runs itself. Ben Johnson can't teach the chemistry that Jared Goff and Amon-Ra St. Brown have. That chemistry between Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jared Goff doesn't all of a sudden not be chemistry anymore when Ben Johnson leaves. Those guys still know each other. Lion fans will pick up what I'm laying down. That's just the truth. You can't undo chemistry. You can change the name of the band. But those players are still going to play well together. You think that Amon-Ra St. Brown's all of a sudden not going to be open? That an offensive coordinator is not going to be able to use that? That's part of the mystique and everything of how that offensive works. I think Brunell's going to do fine in that spot. You know, because the best thing that Brunell can do with that is put his own little Brunell quirks on it and let it be. Doesn't take a rocket scientist if you're using the strength of this team. The strength of this team, run the ball off tackle. Can you teach guys how to hand off? Everybody loves a trick play until it doesn't work. And honestly, I would like the team, if you're going to change the philosophy a little bit, take a little bit of the hot dog, dial that back a little bit, and play into aggressive defense. Play into trying to play a little bit better defense and going with a little bit more of a ball control, using my running backs more type of offense. Because the only type of criticism that I really have on a Ben Johnson is when you got something that's working, and maybe this is just me. I'm an old Madden player, and when I play Madden, I had a style that really worked against a lot of people, and it was just like, I'm going to do this until you stop me from doing this. And if I didn't have to get out of running the ball off tackle or, doing, in between running right up the middle run plays, I would just keep running and doing it. Like, I would just keep going over and over and over again, running the football, running the football, running the football. It might even be the same play, a battle of wills. And I watch the Lions do that for a minute, and then they get off of it. And it's like, what happens if when Jahmyr Gibbs runs for 8 yards that you didn't do play action pass on the second down or take any chance like that? What if you're just like, stop me, bitch.
We're going to bite a kneecap off.
Stop me. Like, I'm going to run right here. My offensive linemen are going to make that play work. I'm going to get 4 yards every time. That's the way they used to play back in the day, man. And then you have the explosiveness of the rest of your stuff. But my only criticism was that's an awful thing to watch in a playoff game, is watching a wide receiver that doesn't throw the football, and then throw an interception to, in all sense, end the game. So I do feel a certain kind of way for Ben Johnson leaving. I think that he made a lot of enemies in Detroit by leaving the way that he did. Because for any logical Lion fans, it's a hard pill to swallow. Or it's hard to believe that you could lose a game on Sunday, have a job on Monday with your entire staff assembled for the rival team, and then I'm forced to believe that you took your job serious in this playoff game. Your whole staff was assembled the day after we lose. You're saying bear down. Now, that is what it is, man. You go be an offensive coordinator, but that right there, should we question that Ben Johnson gave his all during the preparation for that game? And honestly, you couldn't prove to me that he did. Because you took the interviews. You compartmentalized. I mean, I don't know if I'm more mad at, I'm not mad at Ben Johnson for that part. I'm mad at the NFL for that part. I'm mad at the NFL for making that possible. Because there's nothing wrong with it, Bears needed a head coach. Go get your head coach. Do everything within the confines of the rules. Right? And they did. They didn't do anything wrong. So the fact that he did leave the day after that playoff game, and I have to think, did he give his best? And every Lion fan should think that. Did he give his best? He had 2 weeks to prepare. What happens to the teams that actually played in the wild card round? And they're supposed to get. So, my issues with the NFL for allowing that to happen. All of these talks about doing head coaching interviews should have to wait until after the Super Bowl is over. I don't think that that's unreasonable. And I don't think that that's whining and complaining. Because I don't want to think like that, So, it's a bitter pill that we're forced to swallow with this. And, you're sitting here trying to say, I wish you the best. But now he's a rival fan. or now he's on the rival side. So I can't wish you success. I mean, what am I? You want me to wish Ben Johnson the best of luck with the Bears? Does that make me a bad person? No. You did us wrong, Ben. You walked out and you did it in a way where it was very disrespectful. You didn't have to handle it the way that you did, but you did. You put yourself, we didn't put you there. You put yourself in public enemy number one. You would still be public enemy number one if you waited. But there is a pocket of the fan base that actually has some integrity, that, feels that way, that says, man, if he would have handled that after the Super Bowl, going to the rival, you could handle that a little bit more. But the fact that you did it the day after, and you already had your Bear hat on the day after a playoff loss, you're going to get happy after the work that you did? You're going to try to get happy? That's an interesting energy flex right there. But as far as my panic level, I'm at 0-1. I'm not there's no panic because we have players. We have players, and the way that they're going to promote, they're going to promote from within. And these guys have already been all the way around. We already know what we want to be able to do. And honestly, defensively, that might be a good thing, to have that all shaken up. Because basically you have a lot of 3-4 year veteran guys that are on defense, the Aiden Hutchinsons of the world. Kelvin Shepard's got to be licking his chops right now. Because that every player coach, every position coach says, man, this defense is good, but I wonder if I could put a little Kelvin Shepard tweak on that. And I would do it like this. And they have their own philosophies in their mind. Kelvin Shepard's been ready for this. Dale says that there's an unwritten rule that says that you shouldn't go to a team in your division. That don't bother me as bad as the way that they did it. The way that he did it. There's nothing illegal about it. You're allowed to take those interviews and whatnot, but it just makes it look suspect when you leave the day after. You got your whole your staff is assembled. I mean, you had a plan in your mind. You formulated a plan for the Bears while you're getting ready for a playoff run. It is what it is. It is what it is. So it's not the fact that they went to the Bears, it's the way that they did it. And you know what? That's fine. We'll put 2 L's on them again next year. Ben's going to have to figure some things out as a head coach. He's never been a head coach before. And you can't teach what we have here in Detroit. The players that we have He's going to have to build chemistry there, and I think that he can have success in Chicago. But if you sit up here and you expect me not to feel a certain kind of way about the way you did that, Ben Johnson, you made this a rivalry now. You made this personal. You made this personal. And, you know, Bear fans can do what Bear fans do. They'll overreact to this. They'll tell us how it's over. Oh, we have these guys now. You look out. We're going to take over the North and we're going to give it back. We're not going to give it back to you. So, the kings of the offseason, the Bears, are back on the clock again. Yeah, and we can go over this right here. John, this is the point I'm talking about right here. It's not tampering right now. The Bears and Ben Johnson did nothing wrong. They didn't. For some reason, the NFL opens up this window, and it's been like this for a while. I remember when they did it last year. It's just weird. You're just like, oh, yeah, let's go look for a head coaching job. I know, but we got this playoff game next week. But, you know, I wonder what I could do for your team. Like, it's just weird. So, but, John, the issue with this is not a Ben thing. This is not a Bears thing. This is an NFL thing. And I do believe they should change that rule. They should have to wait until the end of the season. But the thing that Ben Johnson doing this the day after, that's a slap in the face. That's on purpose. That's on purpose. He's stirring the pot. He did that. You know what? And that's the spirit of competition, baby. Our spirit. The spirit of competition. And you know what? If anything, it proves that Ben Johnson isn't afraid to take that dive. But statistics will show here that most first-time head coaches fail. And there's a chance that Ben Johnson leaves, fails, and then comes back to be our offensive coordinator once he's got to dust himself back off. So, but it's all good though. You know, when I actually was going through and then I'm looking at the future, like I'm trying to process the loss and I'm just like going through and, you know, wiping off all of my tears. And then I go to over the cap and then I'm looking at this roster and then I just feel better. And he'll do the next man up thing. And it works with the coaches. It's worked with the coaches. What's really funny is it's like we develop coaches. The loss of our coaches, it gives us a chance to reinvent ourselves with these great players that we have. Why do you think the Lions want versatile players as their core pieces? They'll be able to mold to the philosophy of Calvin Shepard. And I believe in that. I believe in it because there's examples all over the Lions roster right now of guys that had meh first 2 years, and then in the third year or the fourth year, they develop. That's because they have a way to develop. The competitions that Dan Campbell puts on during the training camps that really only Lion fans know about if they follow it all the time, it's crazy. That's not going to change no matter who the coordinator is. The way they decide who's going to be on the roster, that's not going to change no matter who the coordinator is. That's something that was built in. This competition is fierce now for these positions. That's the craziest thing right here. I've never seen this from a Lions, off-season perspective here. You're going into a draft with no needs. Yeah, I said it. The Lions don't have any needs. Like what the Lions need is for their star players to get healthy. Right? Like just getting the guys back that were on the team that weren't available to you. I mean, I'm trying to look at this roster and I'm looking through, like offensively. I mean, and look at the number here too. $47 million in cap, and we don't have anybody to sign. Now, I fully expect the Lions to extend Aiden Hutchinson this offseason, because you definitely want to do that quick because he's going to get the big contract. So you might as well get that out of the way because it's only going to go up. So there are some things that I definitely think they're going to do, but it's going to be in-house. I don't think we're going outside. There's 51 guys that are signed right now, and these aren't chumps. These aren't backup guys. Raymond, McNeil, the entire offensive line minus Kevin Zeitler, but you got money to re-sign Kevin Zeitler. So I'm just like, this is the oddest offseason for Lion fan. But we got, do we need edge? Do we need edge? I'm looking through these right here. I'm just, honestly, let me, somebody said something in here. I saw it. Where was it? I see it on the one side, but I wanted to put it up on the screen. There we go. All right, I wanted to get Mark coming. I got kicked out of there for a minute. Had to reboot. Mark says that we definitely need, especially an edge and defensive interior, but we don't. Do we really? Like, okay, on edge, right? On edge, we got. We need guys to come back, but we're gonna get Kaminsky. We're going to get Hutchinson back. We got Zadarius Smith still. Josh Pascal. That's the first two. And then you get Aleem McNeil. You got DJ Reader still. Now, Levi Onwuzurike's up for his contract, but you could keep him. You still got Broderick Martin. You still got Mekhi Wingo. I mean, yeah, you can draft defensive end. I'm not saying, Mark. I agree with you. You can draft defensive interior, but what I'm saying is like the pressing need is like you're not sitting there with Aiden Hutchinson going, oh, there's nobody. No, you still got Josh Pascal and you have Zadarius Smith. So, yeah, does that put defensive end up on the list? Sure. Yeah, you want to go for a defensive end? No issues there. You know? But we have guys in those spots. The defensive end that gets drafted is actually going to have to compete for a roster spot. You know? And he may have to beat out John Kaminsky. So, that's the spot. This is a good thing, though, Mark. So while we're having this little contract right there. Do I think that Zadarius Smith stays or goes? I don't know. Right now we have him under contract. But the thing is Lions don't deal with that. So if he wants to be disgruntled, I'm sure that the Lions would be willing to do something to his contract this year, because I know it's kind of a lower contract. The Browns really got a good deal on him, but I don't know. They have him under contract. They don't have to do anything. And Zadarius Smith doesn't necessarily have to be the man on the other side of Hutchinson, because I like a rotation that's coming in there, because I want Josh Pascal involved. He broke out this year, and I want him to get more snaps next year. You know, we want the future to be in there. As a matter of fact, Josh Pascal and Zadarius Smith are similar type players. Kind of play in and out, play the big end. The Lions may have a defense to go for that 3-4 thing. Maybe they'll go into 3-4 with Kelvin Shepard as the linebackers coach. I don't know. But all I know is when you're looking at this roster, it's almost full. Like, I haven't seen anything like this with not the holes. It's not that you can't improve the roster. It just means that the level of guy that you would have to bring in to get one of these guys off of the roster, that might be a different deal, you know? Because we got some guys that are incubating. Project players. You know, guys that I think I believe in their hearts that they know are going to take 2 or 3 years to develop on the practice squad, like Giovanni Manu. Colby Sorsdal's going into his 3rd year. I expect him to get good reserve snaps next year. Christian Mahogany developed a little bit early in that spot. Young offensive lineman. Gosh, when I'm looking at this roster, it's like it's going to be hard to crack the roster, even on the back end. You know, you got Brock Wright, Sam Laporta. You know, you're probably not gonna crack in as a tight end with running backs. You know, Gibbs, Montgomery, and Craig Reynolds, and Vaki. I mean, where you gonna crack that? Vaki, you just drafted last year. You got, you know, already a big contributor on on special teams. You know, on offensive tackle. Yeah, you're going to have to replace Taylor Decker, but he signed a 3-year deal down the road. You're training Giovanni Manu, who you'll probably have an option, not this year. Taylor Decker will play mostly this year, but I bet you Giovanni Manu comes in and plays some backup snaps next year. It's going to be hard to crack that. You're making these investments on these players. Wide receivers. Amon-Ra St. Brown. Jameson Williams. Khalif Raymond. All those guys are here. You know, they'll probably bring back Tim Patrick. You're going to have to break it. You have to make it in. You're going to crack that lineup. We're going to draft a wide receiver that's going to get ahead of those guys. You know, Penei Sewell. We got Dan Skipper. We got you got to beat out these guys that are backing up. Graham Glasgow. You got Mahogany. You got Sorsdahl. They've already been incubating. You got to beat those guys out as a depth piece if you get drafted on the offensive line. Center. There's a position that you might be able to get in on. Be a direct backup, a center that can play guard. Now that I'm going through this position by position, you're going to need to find a replacement for Frank Ragnow. Frank the Tank. Now, when I'm listening to that interview, I think that he's definitely going to be finishing out his contract, which is next year. I think we got him 2 more years. Do we have 2 more years on Frank Ragnow? Let's go 2026. Frank Ragnow. Yeah. We have him this year and next year. And that's it. Yep. So Frank Ragnow's got 2 years left on his deal, and he said his body feels better than ever. So you got to find a replacement for Frank Ragnow within the next 2 years. There's a spot. Where else? That's pretty much it on quarterbacks. You got, Jared Goff and Hendon Hooker. You're drafting and developing. And on defense, let's go through that on defense. Same thing on defense. And I'm not trying to what I'm trying to do is paint the picture here that the Lions are in a very unique position here. I'm not trying to argue what we need or what we don't need. It's like the definition of what need has changed. Going through on defense. I mean, you think defensive tackle wise, right? You got Aleem McNeil and DJ Reader, Broderick Martin, Mekhi Wingo. I mean, yeah, you can draft a defensive tackle. That's fine. But you got guys there. So the definition of need when it comes to that is not as much. So you can agree in there, right? Can we agree? Yeah. I'm going long today. And then when you're going the defensive end, like I said, you got Zadarius Smith under contract, you got Hutchinson under contract, you got Pascal under contract. And the other guys that were playing at the end of the year, like, Muhammad, those guys are practice squad guys. They'll be able to, they have plenty of those guys. There's plenty of those, like, little depth guys that kind of know what's going on, that they know that they can use in those positions. But, yeah, you can use a defensive end, but you still have 4. You got 4 bodies in there, Good ones. I mean, you obviously don't want to be injured. You suffered a lot of injuries there. The depth was tested all the way down to the practice squad this year, but those guys are going to be healthy. And you can't just expect them not to be. So, but yeah, you could get defensive end's a good spot. Linebacker-wise, you got Alex Anzalone here for a couple of years. You got Jack Campbell, Jalen Reeves-Maben. And we only use 2 linebackers at a time half the time. Malcolm Rodriguez. Yeah. I mean, can you draft a linebacker? Sure. Yeah, let's draft a linebacker. But is it the definition of need there has changed. Safeties, Kirby Joseph, Brian Branch, come on. They're probably going to extend not Brian Branch, but Kirby Joseph this year. Yeah, let's go. You could probably draft depth there. You got Ifeatu Melifonwu. Do you bring him back? That's important safety depth. But the thing is like there's just not a ton of holes on this roster. And if you're going to be encouraged about anything with this Lions team, that's what you should be encouraged with. So I hope that helped paint the picture. I'm going to be doing that a lot during the offseason. Starting next week, I'm probably going to be going into more of the recorded fashion. I will do one more live show, after this week. I'm going to go all the way through Saturday this week, but the following week, I'm going to do a Super Bowl show, but then we're into recorded mode, baby. We're into the off season. We got kicked to the off season. But I will do off season shows. I will do shows when breaking news happens and on demand. But as far as the dailies go, I am, I'm off until training, until we get into the training camp. We'll kick back into 5 days a week again, but we're in the off season early. And tomorrow I want to do those lock picks. We didn't really talk all that much about the AFC NFC championship game, so we're going to get into that tomorrow. You have been watching the Lion Villain Report, and we're going to do this Hump Day preview tomorrow on that, since we got into different things today about the coordinators. We had the breaking news and everything. So broadcasting live right now. Thank you to the Villain Squad Facebook page, the Villain Squad YouTube page. Take the time, go over, hit a follow button, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. That helps out. Thank you to Joe Chap and the Detroit Lions News Podcast, allowing us to be on that platform, on Roku. I don't know if I'm in there right now, but we're on Roku. We are the UDFA of sports podcasting. My name is Russell Wayne. This is the Lion Villain Report. Liking, commenting, sharing. That's how you can help us out. The UDFA, baby. If Christopher Walken was there, he'd say Lions Villain Report tomorrow in the morning, 10 a.m. You should watch it. It could be good for you. It could be good for your life. Oh, hell yeah. This episode of Lion Villain Report brought to you by NFL Shop. Get that Lion swag. QR code right there. You can scan it and save up to 25% off of your order from our affiliate marketing partners at NFL Shop. Thank you, everybody, for watching today. I appreciate you guys. We'll continue the conversation tomorrow. May the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May the Lord shine his face upon you until we meet again in Jesus' name. Amen. God bless you guys. See you guys tomorrow. Peace and love. Das Fidelia. Afising. Bonjour. No. Au revoir. Adios.
Hey, yo, the lies so that you never make it. Hopeless, so it seems. Eyes closed, candles open wide to embrace your dreams. Sometimes you gotta take a loss just to get the win. Like lots of sin was popping in like oxygen when boxes win. Focus on the mental, never lose like smooth groove instrumental. Better choose on the move in a pinto. Choose when I get to, never lose, move on the move, but it's simple. Never give up and we running it, maybe.